We're trying to lock him down. We tentatively scheduled for Saturday at 10, but I'm trying to get him to definitively confirm.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be one of the hardest things that you'll find in consulting. So, yeah, that's one of the most difficult things in consulting is scheduling the meeting with the right person, the one that has all the power. You can talk to all the cronies you want, but until you get the guy who has the power to make the decisions, it's all fun and games. So what else is going on? Lauren, you got some bobo there for everybody? No?
I'm drinking coffee. Sorry.
You're drinking coffee?
I felt so sleepy.
I thought you were drinking boba tea.
No, too much calories.
Yeah, there's a lot of calories. Or as my son says, he drinks white chick coffee. He puts cream and sugar and all kinds of stuff in there. So does anybody want to share any interesting stories about their first meeting or their meeting with the principal of the company? Any interesting stories? Come on, you got to get a good story. Somebody has to have a good story out there. So many years ago, I was doing sales in downtown Los Angeles. And if you know what an IBM Selectric typewriter is, it's a typewriter it's a huge typewriter, and it weighs probably about, I don't know, 50 to 75 pounds. It's very, very heavy. So you move it around on a cart. So I'm wheeling it in downtown Los Angeles. I had to park like 2 blocks away from this building. And so I'm wheeling it around this corner, and I run into, I run into this guy in a police uniform. I'm like, what the hell? And I almost run him over. It was the Star Trek guy, William Shatner. And they were filming, and the guard was supposed to be on the street, not letting people in, but he was doing something, taking a break or something. So my claim to fame for Star Trek is I almost ran over William Shatner with a typewriter. So no interesting stories about your clients, your customers?
I think I can share, but it's not so formally because the owner is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And because she have to work in the daytime, so we only can meet on the Sunday evening. And she's so sad because after seeing our first evaluation report about her business, so she invited me to a drink. So I tell her that there are some cruel truth that I think we need to talk to you. And after that, we after the meeting, she started drinking and drinking and drinking, and then she drinks a lot, becomes so drunk, so that I have to call a taxi and grab her to home. And before she get out of the taxi, and she's just still, she keeps saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. If I don't have you, I don't know how to keep my brains continuing. And then she just throw on the street. So I have to call her girlfriend to come to catch her up.
You got her to sign the contract though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just teasing. So any other interesting stories? Antidotes? No. So has everybody had at least one meeting except for Aaron's group?
Well, actually, I have interesting stuff to share with. Quite the same with her that the boss of the company we studied is also my friend, actually my college alumni, and he just started his business after he graduated. But I going on the MBA study here,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, I know quite a lot about the progress of his companies, and actually, that's a really interesting stuff. That's probably the topic that of my own interest.
Okay.
And but the first meeting that we had with him on this Sunday, on last Sunday, it goes quite smooth. That not quite much accident or something else, but we just have a nice talk. And after the conversation, we have some talk about like how's reasoning going on, like after we graduate or something else.
Ah, very nice. Okay. Good deal. All right, so let's get started. Most everybody's here. All right. Look, it's another slide deck. I got a million of them. All right. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about customer analysis, competitor analysis. Each of those we could probably spend a whole quarter on, but lucky you, I'm only going to spend one night on them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about flawless consulting, which you should be pretty much wrapping up. And then what I expect for next week paper. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the other book. You should at least thumb through the first couple of chapters of that book. It'll help you prepare to look the way you're looking at your companies, and it has a little 12-step thing in there that you guys can look at and use kind of to ascertain what's going on with your companies. Okay, so the customer analysis, what that does is identify target customers, ascertains the needs of these customers, and then specifies how the product satisfies their needs. And that's what it's all about, right? Satisfying the customer's needs. So building a profile on customer analysis or customer profile is a critical section of the company's business or marketing plan. So it identifies and targets customers, determines the need of the customers, specifies how the product satisfies the customer needs, and helps business better understand current and potential customers. And all of that is related to how the increase in sales and the growth of the company. So if you can do all those things correctly and target your customer, you can grow the company and make it more successful. Okay. Customer and buying criteria. We need to know why the customer buys and who not only who the customer is, but why do they buy and what is their criteria for buying. Most of the time it's price, quality, convenience, and prestige. You buy that Louis Vuitton purse not because it's cheap. You buy it because you want the other girl to go, oh man, she has a Louis Vuitton purse. All right. So there's kind of two different types of buying criteria. They're going to have the business to consumer and the business to business. They're going to be different. I don't know if any of you have worked in a large company that has a purchasing department, but many things go into a decision of purchasing. I've always been on the other side where I'm trying to sell to a purchasing department, especially in large companies. You have to go through many different people in order to get them to buy. So you have your initial contact, and then sometimes it's not even the purchasing department that is buying. Sometimes it's a department outside the purchasing department that you have to convince them first, and then they have to put a requisition into the purchasing department, and then you got to deal with them. So the business to consumer transaction focuses more on price and quality. What is the value proposition of purchasing this item? Should I buy a Toyota or should I buy a Lexus? The tangible benefits, is it convenience? Starbucks obviously sells their coffee on convenience. If you've ever been to New York City, there's a Starbucks every half block. Those blocks are really long too in New York City. I don't know if you ever walked around there, but they're a lot larger than a normal block here on the West Coast. Okay, so convenience like a Starbucks or prestige. Are you going to buy a BMW for the prestige of it so you can drive like a jerk, or are you just going to, buy something else, a Volvo, so you can drive safely? All right. Yes, it's an ongoing joke about my best friend who owns a BMW and my son who owns a Subaru. I don't know which one's the biggest jerk when they're on the road, but they both don't drive very nicely. So the business to business criteria is many reliable payment terms and delivery schedules are one of the things that they look at. Usually when I'm buying from my vendors, who gives me the best terms? Do I have to pay in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days? Do they have the best pricing for the products that I need to buy? I can buy one product from 4 different distributors. So who has the best price, who gives me the best customer service, and so on and so forth. RFQs, request for quote. RFPs, request for purchase, purchase order. Contracts, formal proposals, informal proposals. Those are all different kinds of terminology that you would learn if you were in the industry or in the purchasing department or in the sales department. Okay, so the purchasing process and patterns, a more in-depth understanding might be needed for the decisions making process to purchase. What are the steps involved in decision-making process? So there are a lot of different steps with the businesses. Not so much as an individual, we pretty much either need something or want something and we go through and buy it. So what sources of information are sought? What is timeline for the purchase? Obviously, a timeline, we're going to buy a cup of coffee maybe every day or every other day. We're going to buy a car maybe once every 5 years or 6 years, so it's not going to be the same timeline in purchases or frequency, right? So will the customer seek out multiple bids? So with the internet, you can go out and get different bids. If you're going to buy a car, one-time purchase, a large something like that, you can talk to different fleet managers and get different types of bids. Okay, well, the product or service requires significant modifications. So if you go to the drive-through at In-N-Out and order the no grilled onions, no toast on the bun, 3x3, is that the significant modifications that you need to, when you're purchasing something? So something of that nature. Sometimes when you do industrial type purchasing, sometimes you have to have something specially made. So that would be a kind of a significant modification. So actions, how frequently items are purchased, average transaction value, or which items were purchased in conjunction with other items. So obviously when you buy a hamburger, you want a Coke to go with that, right? So the reason for the occasion for the purchase, like I said, a new car, it's something you don't buy that often. As opposed to going out to dinner, buying a dinner or a number of times, like you go out a few times a week for dinner. So the timetable of the purchase, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Amount purchased, what's the average amount that some people purchase in business? Excuse me. It could be, the same purchase week after week, but the prices vary. I was talking to a construction friend of mine the other day, and he says, the prices keep going up and up and up every week. The price is different. So he's thinking that maybe he's going to purchase a little extra every week because he knows he's going to use certain things. So that's something you have to be aware of when you purchase. So the amount purchased is going to be a little bit more this week than it would be because of the price keeps going up. Okay, so customer demographics. You got a whole marketing class on that. That lasts a whole semester, and we're going to do it in 2 minutes. All right, you guys ready? Subset of markets made up of people with one or more characteristics that cause them to demand similar products or service based on gender, age, ethnicity, geography, and income. So obviously you're not going to sell a Maserati to somebody who can't afford it. So typically what makes up a demographic analyst for a target market, the age range, customer wants, and the products or the service that they want, the gender, obviously buying clothing, even though you can buy women's clothing, you choose not to. What is the income level of your potential customers? What is the education level? So sometimes people with more education buy certain things that people don't with lesser education. What is the marital status? Obviously you're not going to go buy a crib if you don't have a baby. Single, divorced, do they have children, grandchildren, cats, or dogs? I have no grandchildren, but I have grand cats and grand dogs. So what are their hobbies? So, you're trying to target what these people do. Have any of you done the Esri ArcGIS, the business analyst software? Very, very powerful software. It is free to you guys. You guys can get it and it's free. So if you need to use it, contact the graduate school there. That could be a helpful tool that you can use for your customers. So my favorite is a soccer mom. So it does everything from soccer mom to Heartland communities, all different types. You can get 35,000 different data points at any given time, any demographics, any part of the world. I taught a class in that a couple of quarters ago. It's pretty interesting, pretty fun stuff. We did a food truck competition from LA to New York, and based on the demographics, and they had to go into the ArcGIS and find a bunch of things and do a bunch of assignments on each city that they went to, which was kind of fun. All right, so that gives us our customer analysis. Now competitor analysis. So why do we need a competitor analysis? Because we need to know what's going on out there, right? We need to know who we're competing against, and we need to know if we have a competitive advantage. So the assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of a current and potential competitor with your company. Okay, so company array, define the industry, determine who the competitors are, determine who the customers are and what benefits they expect, determine the key strengths, price, service, convenience, inventory, rank the key success factors by giving each one weight, rate each competitor on each of the key success factors. P&E ratios, when you're buying stocks, you always want to do the PE ratios, right? See if the company is doing good. All right, so detailed profiles include the background of the company, location of the offices. Are they nationwide? Are they located locally? Location of manufacturing plants. Are they one and the same? Online presence, history, key personalities, dates, events, trends. Some companies, IBM has been around for over 100 years. I use them in my undergraduate class. One of the first big sales that they ever did was to Nazi Germany. And they don't even talk about that. You can't even find that in their history anymore. Ownership, corporate governance, and organizational structure. What kind of a structure as a company, and are their governor and their ordinance? Okay, so look at their financials, the PE ratios, dividend policy. Is the company profitable? Some companies are not profitable. Look at Twitter. They've been around for many, many years, and it was up until last year that they finally made some money. They're finally in the profit range. Do various different financial ratios, liquidity, cash flow, and profit growth profile. So these are some of the things you want to look at of your competitors. Products, what kind of products do they have? Are their products exactly the same as yours? Are they better? Are they worse? The product strategy which the firm maintains, and even combination of new growth, mature products, the BCG matrix. If you guys remember what that is, new products development, new products success rate, R&D strengths, strength of brand portfolio, the brand loyalty. Look at Coke and Pepsi. Not so much people are loyal as which one's cheaper at the supermarket that week, right? Which one you can get a better deal on. Patents and licenses, quality control, reverse engineering, or reformulation. A lot of these companies did. And because you didn't remember what the growth share matrix is, I put it on here for you. So remember we talked about stars, question marks, cash cows, and dogs. So the cash cows are a mature industry that's making cash. Stars, you're not sure what they are yet, if they're going to become a great moneymaker or not. So question marks, you don't know what they are. Stars are ones that are going to make a lot of money, like these pharmaceutical companies. They have these drugs that make them a bunch of money for 5 years or 10 years, however long the patent lasts on that. And then they get the generic drug. Okay, and then the dogs, the ones that don't do so good that you try and sell off and get rid of. So detailed profiles on your competitors might also include marketing. What are their marketing tactics? How successful are they? What is their market share? Growth rate, customer loyalty. Are the customers loyal to them? For example, one of the groups has a sushi company, right? So are their customers loyal? Are they going to come back, week after week after week or month after month, however often they eat sushi? Are they, does everybody know their name? So then also you're going to talk about the distribution channels that they use, direct and indirect. Do they have exclusive agreements? For example, on a few different manufacturers, we have exclusive agreements for our area. So we have, nobody else can sell those machines in our area. Xerox does that a lot. HP does that, a few other companies. So, does your company has that exclusive agreement? And geographical coverage, what kind of areas do they cover? Then obviously pricing, discounts, and allowances. So personnel, what kind of employees do you have? How many do they have? What is their skill set? For example, Enterprise Rent-A-Car only hires college graduates to do the sales, right? If you want to become work into the car rental business and you want to do anything in sales, they only hire college graduates. Some law firms only hire Harvard law graduates. So, what is there a special skill set that those employees have? And what kind of strength of management do they have? Disneyland obviously has one of the best training programs for management in the world. They actually go through and train other companies. Compensation benefits, employee morale, retention rates. These are all things that you can look at to analyze your competitors. Okay, so detailed profiles on your competitors might also include corporate marketing strategies. What are their objectives? What is the mission statement of the company? For example, IBM's mission statement has been true for over 100 years. They haven't changed the mission statement, and it's still providing the best technology. That's their mission statement, and that's what they continue to do. Growth plans, acquisitions, divestitures, marketing strategies. So these are all things that you need to look at. Facilities, what kind of facilities does your competition have? Do they have bigger plants than you? Do they have more capacity? At UCR in the graduate school, I did we did a competition with manufacturing, and you go through and you build plants. And the more plants that you build, obviously, the more products you can make. But in certain areas, they get hit with different things where they can't produce anything. So is your competition in areas where they might have a hurricane or they might have a tornado or something and close the plant down? So these are things that you need to look at with your competition. And then obviously logistics. Are they in a place where they can get the product out quicker than you can? Are they right next to a FedEx hub? Not that that would work because FedEx has been sucking lately. So, but that's just my opinion. You need to know where your competition's, who your competition is. Direct competitors, for example, Coke, Pepsi, and RC Cola is a direct competitor, right? My undergraduate class, when we had live classes in the classroom, I used to do a taste test, a blind taste test of Coke, Pepsi, and RC Cola. So 9 out of 10 people would pick RC Cola as as the best tasting drink without knowing what it was. So, but RC Cola is like one of the worst selling soft drinks out of the 3. So same product or service in same geographical area, that would be your direct competition. Target the same audience and serving the same needs. That would target the same. Okay. What about psychographics and motivation segmentation? Like I said, we could spend a whole semester on that, and I'm not even going to get into that. But thank you, Aaron, for mentioning it. RC Cole is the best, Randy. Okay, good. All right. So indirect competitors. So sometimes you don't know that who your indirect competitors are. So you got to look around and see. You know, if you're brewing beer, sometimes the winery is your competitor. Sometimes a spirit is your competitor. Same products or services, same geographical area. So you know, the car dealerships, you know, those are all competitors with each other, and you say, well, why do they all conglomerate in the same area? Well, they do that because they know that's going to bring in the customers, and not necessarily the customer is not going necessarily to the Subaru dealership, but they might look at it anyway to see, and they might compare different cars. So that's why they all cluster together. Tertiary competitors, product that is vaguely linked to your product. I'm going to do a few examples in here. There's not really a really good example, but kind of the energy drink and high caffeine drinks compete with the coffee. That's kind of like, even though they're not made to compete with that demographic, that's kind of what they end up doing anyway. Okay, so how to find competitors. You guys all know this little thing called Google, right? So at the bottom of the first Google search page, you will see, because I put in Thornton Winery, and it came up with, at the bottom of the page, it came up with some of the competition. Faulkner, Wilson, and even Aaron's company there that they're doing, along with Hart Winery. So Google will give you a good sense of who's Googling what and who's doing what. And then, for example, wine, just drinking wine would be, you know, buying wine would be a competitor. So now you have all the ads of all the people selling all the different wines. So instead of buying a bottle of Thornton wine from Thornton Winery, I can get it off of one of these other companies that's a wholesaler, probably for about half the price. Most expensive place to buy wine is at the winery, by the way. You would think it would be cheaper, but it's not. All right, so how to find competitors? Ask your prospects and customers. Your customers know who the competitors are, right? They know where, you know, they know who else sells wine. They know what other wineries are out there. New companies may be asking about your company. New rival on the scene. Trade publications. They are the ones catering to all the different competitors. And vendors. You know, I have some vendors. I ask them. I go, what's this company doing? And they'll tell me. They're saying, oh, they're buying a lot of this product. They're buying a lot of this. So I know my competition's buying a lot of Lexmark machines, or buying a lot of Xerox machines and selling a lot of Xerox. Okay, social media analysis. Twitter, Reddit, Google Analytics, Instagram, you guys know the whole list. Okay, and then share a voice, social media. There's a lot of companies out there that sell this information. And there's also places where you can go to get this for free. But for example, who's talking about what? Companies are measuring how much, what percentage of chatter out there is about McDonald's and the fast food industry. So McDonald's is just not a competition with Wendy's, Burger King, and Five Guys. They're a competition for the other fast food restaurants too. So even though it's a burger, it's, you know, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, Dunkin' Donuts, they're all the competition. So know who your competition is. All right, so there's a bottle of wine here. Once we have the general overview of competitor size, reach, activities, personnel, we can start comparing competitors. So for example, in Temecula and the wineries, we're going to compare all the wineries with the revenue, number of customers, number of offices, locations, and the list goes on and on. But in actuality, you know, the wineries are not just the competitors. Look on the right over here. I put down the hospitality restaurants. You know, Thornton has a very nice restaurant there. You know, it's fine dining. So you have other companies that are going to take business away from Francesca's. You know, J Bucks. I never heard of them, but you know, other places, and they also do weddings and other venues there, right? So you have the country clubs. Those are also competitors because they do weddings. So you got, so it's not just one, not just other wineries or competitors. You have all these different competitors because they offer different products. So financial records and reports in publicly traded companies, not a problem. You can get down to the penny and examine their books. With mid-sized companies and smaller companies, it's not going to be so easy. That information is not made public. And your guys's companies may not want to share their books, which is okay. Don't get too upset. A lot of people don't want you to know how much money they make or how much money they're hiding or which set of books they have going on, so they don't want to get confused on that. So you can also find out a lot of stuff through blogs, press releases, interviews that they do. So, and trade shows. And then there's also a few other websites out there that will, companies have filled out some information where they can get, some dollar amounts of what their sales are. So if you really need some sales information, you can probably get it. Judy, your friend, probably, if she doesn't give you the sales information, it's probably going to be impossible to get her information. She's so small since she's an individual. So the wineries, for example, how many customers do they have? The wine club, they'll brag about it on their blog or their website. They'll say, we have 500 members in our wine club. Come and join us. Be one of the few, the proud. How far do they distribute their products? Where can you buy Thornton Winery? I looked it up. I can get it at Bevmo and Total Wine and More. So if I come over to Temecula and I visit the wine country and I live in Florida, I can go to my local Bevmo and say, oh, you don't have it? Well, can you order it from the California store? Sure, no problem. We'll get it to you in a week.
Not necessarily.
No,
it's they produce, oftentimes wineries will produce wine sourcing grapes from different regions for retail. So they'll sell different, it'll be a different wine.
It may be a different,
it
may be a different wine, but I can still get it from Bevmo. I can call them up and say, hey, send me a bottle of your Thornton that you have, right?
Yeah, same brand, different product.
Yeah, I know. Europe's the same way. Europe, the stuff that they send over here is usually not nearly as good as what they keep for themselves. I know. And the table wine is awesome. You don't have to spend 30, 40 bucks on a bottle of wine. You get a craft and nice table wine. Distribute through national wide retailers, suggest a large customer base. Data analytics to determine customer size, organic or paid for. You can get a lot of this information free, or you can pay for it. And since we're all college broke, we can get the free stuff, right? All right. Number of office and locations, winery property. How big are the manufacturing facilities? You compare those to the other ones, and you can actually physically see that. So that's not something they're gonna, they're not gonna have an underground bunker and, making secret wine like they did in Prohibition. So do they have other brands, office, tasting rooms? For example, a lot of the wineries will have a tasting room in Old Town Temecula. So they kind of go in and out. They kind of rotate over. Some stay for a while, some don't. So do they buy grapes from other vineyards? Do they not produce enough grapes on their own property to make as much wine as they can sell? So are they buying grapes, or are they fortifying their wines? Are they buying the fortification for the wines from Galliano and Rancho Cucamonga? Or where is he at? I think Rancho or someplace. Okay. Noteworthy employees. Do they have a master vintner? Guy who makes wine. How many awards does he have? So customer service reputation. How's the customer service? You go to Chick-fil-A, they're so darn nice and so sweet all the time. They just, it's horrible. Employee training programs. Disney has one of the best, have you ever parked at Disney? They have the best directions ever. They'll tell you exactly where to go. You go right here, you go right there, you go right there. All right. So that's something, that a lot of companies have, and it's part of their culture. Industry awards and certifications. What does your competition have? Have they, gotten all these awards and everything? All right. So what are the products that are being sold? Thornton has quite a few. Sauvignons, Chardonnay, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, And they got this Kiss of Coffee. I have no idea what that is. And then chocolate malted kiss. So I don't know what they did to that poor wine, but it looked like they mucked it up. But it must be a popular seller. It's on their website. So look at Aaron's
Sells really well, but it's disgusting.
Does it? That's like those wine slushies at the that one
At Wilson Creek.
Yeah, the wine slushies.
At Wilson Creek, yeah.
Yeah, they make these wine slushies. They're just sickening sweet, and you sit out there in the hot sun and you drink them, and it's horrible.
I saw a study recently that was saying that the American palate for wine is sickeningly sweet. Like it's people who like dry wines are actually the anomaly in the US.
Yeah, I know. Everything's sweet in the United States. That's why we have so much soda and so many diabetes. All right, so areas of operation, what else do they offer to compete with? For example, Thornton Winery, you can go see a concert there, right? You can have a wedding there. You can have an event, small or large. A lot of the wineries are like that. So, you know, they have South Coast is actually a spa, I think, full-on spa and resort. So, you know, not only are they a winery and make wine and sell wine, but, you know, it's a destination place. So, you know, 5 years ago, or, you know, 5 years ago, Temecula wasn't so much of a destination place. It was more of a one-day trip type of thing. So that's something that's changed over the years. They're building more hotels, and then the casino over there, the Pechanga Casino, has doubled in size over the last few years. All right, so got to know your competition. Got to know your competition, the area you're in. You got to know what's going on. So website and social channels, how they see themselves or present themselves. What does your customer do? What kind of a website do they have? What kind of copy do they put on their website? What do they do in social media? Physical materials printed. What are the brochures? What do their labels look like on the wines? You know, all this kind of thing you got to keep into mind when you talk to when you're comparing a competitive advantage and getting a competitive analysis. Emails and other correspondence, how they do their letterhead, email block, signature footer, press appearances. How do they come off on camera? What do they say about their companies? So interviews given by the company, by the employees and management and executives. Look what Elon Musk did. He launched a car into space. I mean, you know, come on. What does that say about the company? I'm so rich and powerful, I can put a car into space. It's a great marketing tool. I mean, come on. Okay, when considering the competition, how do they present themselves? Luxury or value? Differentiation or cost models? Are they cheap? Are they expensive? What does their landing page look like? You know, come on down, buy something. What features, products do they emphasize? What are the selling points? How do they talk? What is their tone? I mean, are they sarcastic like me? Are they dry like the British? You know, what is their tone? Who are they talking to? Who's their audience, and what imagery do they use? You know, do they use soft, subtle imagery, hard, you know, in your face imagery, you know, like the X Games type thing? So, you know, what kind of imagery do they use, and do you even want to do that kind of? Are you even in the same competitive league as them, or do you even want to be in the same competitive league in them? So know what the tone is. So price, what is the price list of your competition? Thornton, basically $23 to $52 a bottle. Special reserve you can get for $98. The restaurant's a little bit higher. It's a little bit finer dining than most places. And they do have wines from around the world, and they also do spirits and other things. So, you know, it's quite a nice dining experience, and you pay a little bit extra for it. The wedding venue is a little bit higher priced than the competition, a little bit nicer. It's kind of a destination wedding type thing, as opposed to wham, bam, thank you. Check out recruitment and careers of your competition. Check out what they're doing. Are they hiring a bunch of people? Are they getting ready to go on a mass sales campaign? Are you going to be able to keep up with them? Are they hiring developer, engineers, construction people? They're gearing up to, you know, expand their facilities. Is there a mass exodus of employees? Is the management a bunch of jerks? You know, does everybody say, I'm quitting, I'm out of here? And there's a place called Glassdoor, which you guys are probably familiar with since you guys are all graduating pretty soon. You can leave reviews of the companies that you work for. So that's actually a glean into what the companies like to work for. All right. So website content. So we in the keep up with the current trends. Are they doing what everybody else is doing? Are they falling behind? What are they attempting to do? Are they doing it badly, or are they being successful at it? So what is the content they're producing? The blogs, are they any good at it? Does anybody care what they say? How often do they post? How are they performing? All those other good things. So this was kind of interesting that I found. BuzzSumo, they kind of do the analyze what people say on Facebook, Twitter, and some of the other social media sites. So I guess their Dueling Pianos concert that they had in January, only 12 people even said anything on social media about it. And that was on Facebook. So there are a bunch of old geezers there going, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody I'm checking into Facebook. I'm checking into Thornton. That was probably about it. And then the other thing that they did had no social media engagement. So you can check certain sites to see what your competition's doing, how much social media engagement they're getting, what kind of voices they're talking about. So what kind of content do my competitors create? What topics, themes? Who are they targeting? Who are they trying to? What are they trying to meet? How well does it perform? So all of these you can get your analytics. You can get off of Google and a few other places. Okay, so Twitter, biggest share of social media voice. What platforms? What content works? What doesn't? Are they working with influencers? So that's always a key thing. And search engine optimization, SEO, which a lot of people underestimate what the keywords and the meta tags and all that other good stuff. If you Google copier repair in Riverside, I will come up on the first page, and I'm usually the second organic person because the first one is actually called copier repair. So I use all the great meta tags. I use the SEO. I know how to do that. I've done that very successfully for many, many years. So a lot of companies don't know how to do that. They don't do it successfully. Aaron, is it true what I said? I know you're checking.
Yep.
All right. So putting this all together for your companies, it is going to be a little bit difficult, especially for some of these smaller companies. This is where you guys will be able to really help them. That's all you guys have done for the last 2 years, right? Just crunch data the whole time, right? So that's the big challenge. All right. So I want you guys to give me a little 2-minute brief on what's going on with your groups. So, and if you have any questions, if you've run into anything, you can actually ask me and I will give you some. So let's start with group 1. Questions, concerns, tell me what's going on.
I think the biggest obstacle is just getting a hold of the CEO. I've been emailing him, and his responses are sporadic.
Okay.
Just keeping it going.
Is it big enough to where you can talk to somebody else?
Not really. No, it's mainly a family-run operation, and I think he downsized a bit during 2020. So it's pretty much him.
Okay, so it's just pretty
Him,
much
his wife, and his son. Yeah.
So tell him you're going to bring the whole group over to help him pick grapes. It's almost grape picking season.
In about 6 months. But no, we have dates. He said this weekend was better than last weekend. So we're just locking it. So once I get his attention.
All right. What kind of an industry analysis have you done?
Deep
more
one.
than I have.
I've been involved in wine country for a few years. So so I've been able to kind of impart a lot of the knowledge on that, kind of understanding of who the competitors are, who the key players are. We kind of chose Vendimia Winery #1 because it is leanly run. We can focus on kind of a boutique operation and how to manage finances from a more limited scope.
Okay.
There are, to your point, Thornton, South Coast, Fazeli, there are a lot of wineries that have very diversified offerings.
Do you think you're going to be able to give him real
Vendimia
value?
tends to pretty heavily focus on. I believe so. Because I think we can focus. There's, with like Stella Artois, for instance, when they expanded into the LA or into the US market, their marketing tactic was do one thing well, and that was their bell-shaped glasses. So I think with Vendimia, that's been their focus: do one thing well, and that one thing is wine. So, but that being said, the guy also owns California Dreamin' hot air balloons, and he also has an expansion brand called Guy Lemon. So we're going to be incorporating those into the analysis as well.
Okay. I have not read your papers yet since you just turned them in today. So if I ask you some questions that you put in your paper, just be patient with me and just pretend I don't know what I'm talking about and answer the question anyway. All right. And then most of you did an excellent job on coming up with some letterheads and some names. And I print these out. I always print these out, one, because I own a company that does copiers and printers, and I can do that for rather cheaply. And two, because I want to see what they look like. Because sometimes when you go to a company, they'll have a meeting with a dozen people and they'll print out your report. They'll say, here's a report. And if they look at it and they go, what the hell is this? What are these people thinking? They're not going to take you too seriously. So that's why I always look at it, see what it looks like, see if it looks professional. And I print it out. And you never know what they're going to do with your report. They may print it, they may not print it. So always be very, very aware of when you present something to somebody, be very aware of what different medias they may use. They may print it, they may not print it. They may put it up on a big board, 20 feet high by, 15 feet wide. And if you don't want it to look horrible. All right, group number 2. Tell me what's going on.
Hi, I can explain what we have been doing.
Okay. What's up, Jessica?
Thank you. So we had a meeting with the CEO finally after last week's session.
Mm-hmm.
So we said that we want to focus in one of their brands they have, which is on the sports water industry. We also did the Porter's 5 forces analysis. We did the industry analysis for retail and online retail and the water sports industry.
Okay. So I see Aquapool, Pool Masters, Swimline.
Yeah, those are our competitors on Amazon since our customer wants to focus mostly on growing their market share on Amazon.
Okay. Does your company have a logo?
They do.
Good. And next week's paper, please put it in there.
Yes.
Okay. What else is going on? So you think you're going to be able to give them some value then and some real help on doing what are you going to do? Some data analytics on Amazon?
Yes. Yes, that's what we're planning to do so far. So
be very careful. Amazon takes a monthly fee.
Yeah, well, he's already doing business in Amazon. Actually, he is having good sales from there.
Okay.
That's why he is very interested in growing and on Amazon.
Okay. Just be very, very careful about your price points on Amazon.
Okay.
They're not always transparent with their fees. And sometimes if your margins are very slim, you'll end up losing money, especially with shipping.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, group number 3. I like your little logo. Looks good.
Thank you. So an update. We met with the founder and treasurer last Thursday. We requested documents from them regarding their operations, which we just received last night. We prepared an industry analysis, which you have, and next steps are, we've got some questions we've got for them. So we're going to be asking if we can set up another meeting with them to kind of catch up with them, hopefully by next Thursday.
Okay.
I guess I did have one question, just to confirm. We should be sending them the letters that we're preparing, right?
If you want, and if they ask for it, yes. It's always a good thing to keep them updated on what you're doing. I want to know what you're doing because I'm trying to make sure you're not getting off the wrong track. So you're staying on target. So probably, it would be a good idea to keep in touch with them at least once a week. Some people don't want to be bothered. I'm going to show you that later in the class when we talk about the consulting stuff. There's a lot of people, don't bother me, just go take care of it. If he's that type of person, I wouldn't bother him. But if they want to know, then yes, but you have to find that out. You have to ask them. So.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they seem very interested, the treasurer and the founder, in our findings so far. So they seem like they just kind of want to see what we come up with. Mm-hmm. That's what I guess we've been doing. And I just wanted to confirm if that was a good practice or not.
Absolutely. Especially if you're doing industry analysis. I mean, they're going to want to know exactly what's going on in their industry. And if there's some insight that you can give them that they don't readily have, they're going to want to know about it. If there's some kind of a trade journal that you found that they didn't know about, or if there's some other resource that you have that they didn't know about, they're going to want to know.
Okay.
So absolutely. Enlighten them.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Group number 3A. The sushi restaurant.
Yes. Hi, Professor.
How you doing?
So we had a meeting with the CEO and the CFO and the business development manager. So it was a very productive meeting. They provided us with many of their concerns. Actually, maybe too much of concerns. So yeah. But at the end of the meeting, we agreed that we will focus on 2 problems. So we will not be working on different things. So we will be working on their, it seems their most issue is the roles and responsibilities, because they are expanding. They started small, but they're expanding. So they didn't have initially appropriate employee handbook or specific roles and responsibilities. So we are working on that. And also we did some analysis on the competition in the market to see if their expansion, how would it work? So we did some analysis on the direct competitor and the indirect competitors.
Okay. So how's that company selling bacon wrapped sushi doing?
Yeah, so they sell very special kind of sushis, like burger sushis or like raspberry sushi signature. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of different types of like really fusion, different fusion type sushis there. So okay, so tell me a little bit about the competition. What kind of competition do they have in Dubai?
So it's in Saudi Arabia so far, mainly.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so they have about 7 branches in multiple cities. The competition they have, basically not many in terms of their competitive advantage that the customized sushi they do. There so far no other sushi restaurant provide this kind of services that they customize the sushi based on the customer need. And they also changed the sushi concept to make it more fit with the country's food culture. So in terms of this kind of competitive advantage, no other restaurant has done it yet. But however, it's not very strong. We saw it because it's very imitable. So other restaurants might be able to do that soon. So we looked into that as well.
So they might be able to imitate you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Group number 4.
Oh yes. So the other day we just met with the founder finally. It's actually been 6 months since me and the 2 other interns from our group actually spoke with him. So we got a bit of that update from him. He's been in Taiwan for a while, so now he finally flew back to the US because he said that their next product that they've been trying to release into market is like almost done with all of the like the beta testing and like just fixing up all of the kind of like the technical issues that it has right now. So that's kind of where they're at. He kind of gave us provided us a little bit of an update on like where the company has been since we last worked with him. He said that they actually are working right now with what was the name of the company? So they're working with like a specific group that kind of helps him with like the marketing aspect of their industry, which we thought that was kind of lacking when we were working with him there. So that's kind of so far where we're at. He gave us a little bit. Oh, Crutchfield. Yeah, that's the name of the company that they're working with right now.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. They seem to be in a pretty good place and relative to where they were last time, kind of like trying to catch up from like what the COVID kind of like set them back with. I don't know if anyone else from our group wants to pitch in any a little more, but
Okay. What kind of problem are you going to solve for them?
yeah. So does anyone want to pitch in? So there's not necessarily a problem yet that we're trying to identify. He simply made kind of like a goal for him that we would like to help him like achieve, which is like basically, yeah. Does anyone want to pitch in? Because I think they have the exact numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pitch in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me. Go ahead.
So he has a set number, financial number that he wants to hit within the next 5 years. Those are mainly the revenues that he wants to generate. And also with his marketing, he really wants to emphasize on his marketing now that the market is sort of picking up. Things are improving. It's been a year since the lockdown, but like things are looking better now. So he really wants to increase the reach, increase the number of sales associates that they have. So they basically have tied up with a sales agency, and they plan to further boost distributors, and not just the US, but also in other countries. They are already in China, and I think they also entered India. So they're looking for international expansion as well.
Okay. Nice. Also, I want you guys to be aware, the reason I do this as a group with the whole group is, don't be afraid if you have some experience with some of these things that these people are doing. Don't be afraid to jump in and, have some suggestions for them, especially after we, do our little presentations. If you have something or the industry, contribute, tell them, hey, this is, I've been a sushi chef for, 50 years, and this is what, I found that works really well, or whatever, it's the whole reason why I do this as a big group is so you guys can all help each other and, learn from each other.
Most definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Group number 5, team 5.
Hi. So the owner, she was able to give us like some competitors in the local Riverside area. So we've been looking at that as
Can you
well
turn
as
your camera on? Are you able to do that for us?
Oh yeah.
We want to see your bad hair day. There we go. I was only joking.
No, it is. So yeah, we've been looking at the competitors, and she was able to give us the social media analytics. So we've been looking at that and seeing what we can give her recommendations on how to increase her brand awareness on like her social media platforms. We've been doing that.
Okay, so my social media spiel didn't fall on deaf ears.
No, no.
Okay. All right, good. So how do you think you're going to be able to help her with this going over the analytics?
I think that we can find like new ways on how she can increase her engagement on like Instagram. So not only doing like Instagram ads and Facebook ads, like I think she can do like giveaways or like talk to influencers to gain more followers other than like just doing focusing on Instagram ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the guys in my GIS class a couple of quarters ago, his parents are jewelers, and he's been in the jewelry business forever. And he made these video jewelry pieces. It's really cool. And Paris Hilton bought one, so now she's wearing it everywhere, and it's like going crazy.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
He's from UCR. Yeah. All right. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I'm not sure if my group has any questions. They can talk as well if they do.
Yes, you guys can talk as well.
I don't think they have any questions, but I think we're good. If I do, I will email you.
Okay. Okay, so group number 6, what do you got going on?
This week we had another meeting with the CEO, and we know more about the services they provide and how customers use their products. Actually, the company designed some applications and softwares through which the customers can retrieve the filter data. And I think the most important update is that we identify the problem we will focus on. The CEO said the market problem, like how to broaden the existing market, it's a problem need to be solved, and I think we will focus on this problem. And we also know that the cash flow problem is an important thing need to be solved. So for this problem, we may research some appropriate financing methods in Chinese market for the CEO's reference. And
okay, so the cash flow.
Yeah.
What are some of the ideas for the cash flow problem? How are you going to solve some of those? What are some of the ideas that you have?
Yeah, I think we will just to first find the financing methods like liability or stockholders equity, to find maybe some local policies which they can leverage or may get some support from the government. Like
what about some of their vendors? Or are they able to maybe extend terms with their vendors? Instead of paying net 30, can they go like net 60 or 90?
The vendor, it's that mean the suppliers, like
the suppliers?
Yeah, because I think they do not have many suppliers. They mainly the supply of the supply is their customers, because they need their customers' internal data to do the customized products. So and they may also use some their internal the company's internal data, or some data from the third parties, but there's no much about that. So I do not think they can get some help from the suppliers.
Okay, what about paying in advance for the services, or even paying like a monthly subscription fee?
I think it can be considered. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
Questions? Just the difficulty. Could you make announcement to clarify the next week report as early as possible, because it is difficult to contact the CEO because of the time difference.
I will. I'll do it. I'll do it tonight. That's on my slide tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, group number 7, put a watermark on their paper. It looks very nice.
Are we going to present our work or just talking about the meeting with the brand owner?
Update what's going on and let your fellow students know what you're doing with your company.
Okay, so we met Kate, she's my friend, and we found that she have a really big financial problem because she's really like she really lack of the business basic knowledge. So she asked us some favors, like she asked us to teach her how to do the basic double entry bookkeeping, so that she can really understand how is the financial health and the problem of the brain. So we make a Excel spreadsheet for her and teach her how to use it. And then she also said that she's kind of like confused about the pricing strategy because it's the designer own brain, and actually we all know that the handmade things, the physical cost, which means is you are spending money, is really low. But normally we'll see the price is a little bit higher. If you really understand how they made it, you will see that the cost is really high, really low. So as we see now that it really depends on the WTP, which is the willingness to pay from the customer. So we have to try to help her and teach her some kind of like how to manage the margin rates and how to do the brain imagination management. And then also we evaluate her past brain operation performance. She's really sad about that because she knows she's not doing good. We promised that we can help her, but we also need her help. So I asked her about that, her 1 year short-term plan goal under a certain assumption below to understand what she really wants to be. Like, is there's no funding problem, and I give you maybe $50,000 as the budget. You don't have to do any part-time job, and there's no extra labor expenses and living concern. What kind of that you think you can do? And then she will going to help us to do some research about the competitors, and she think is this and how she think about other people's other brains and the computers. So we are going to discuss it this week.
Okay, very good, Judy. Thank you very much. Group number 8.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
So, like just I had said, like at the beginning of class, we get in touch with the CEO. Oh no, I'm sorry, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of the company we studying on, and get some details, ideas about the company, like how it works, how its daily operation or something else, and what is progress with its customers. And we get what's your interest, professor, and our group's interest. That is what's the biggest problem or dilemma they are facing that restrict their company's current development. And
you may not want to take on their biggest problem.
Yeah, the biggest problem.
You may not want to do that. That might be a little bit too much.
Actually, we think that is an adequate topic that we may study on.
Okay.
That's the influence of the pandemic on their first step with the campuses. As I have said, their main business is to contact with the school campus administrators to tell them the importance of and the popularity of the esports, and after that they will help them to establish an esports related majors and other programs. But so before providing help on the esports majors, they have to convince the school administrators two things. One is the company's professionalities, their abilities to provide help on that. on the related topics they promise. And the second thing is the popularity of the esports culture among the campuses. So before the pandemic, what they usually do, their old way is to like provide a free, customized, like an on-campus event plan for the campuses. And by doing that, they can improve their professionality and the popularity of the esports like at the same time. But as you know, there is a lockdown, so they cannot do this. They cannot do this now. And what they have an idea is to like hold like a summer or winter camp for the campuses. That can be an experiment for an esports majors. That if you can have enough students to the summer or winter camp, that can probably be the same case for esports majors. But that's only an idea for them because they have not done like the market research or the cost estimations and they don't know how to deal with the local government to get the enough certificates or something else.
So you're going to help them with that?
Yes. So what we would like to do is to simulate the whole process, like the budget estimations or anything else, and doing that. Of course, they have their teams like doing the same things, but we would like to do it at the same time to see if we could like do as better or as good as them.
Okay, good.
Sounds
Do you
good.
have any questions for me?
Not really, but we think we will contact you if we need it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, group number 9.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of concern. Just after the second time, we connect with the general manager, listening in, and he's so busy. So he asked some people in the same company. The title is let me check.
This is the LinkedIn in China, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys are doing the employment. It's the employment division, or what do they call that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so they just introduced that they're like the same people in the people in the same company. The title is manager sales operation. The people connect with us because the general manager is so busy. So we ask them like the data about the like the global thing and also some data in China. We will share in the PPT on the presentation. And after that, we talk about, we want to know what their plan for the next year, maybe next year or next like short plan. So he tell us maybe for the next year, they will repackage the sales or everything. And also our group download the app, the app to try what their like the production. So maybe we can use like 2 ways to help them to like improve both like their production and their strategy something.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think we have any question. If I have a question, I will email you to ask about that.
Okay, not a problem.
Thank
you. All right, Rice, what do you got going on?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, all right. The second report I sent to you.
No, don't go over the report you sent to me. I just want a brief synopsis of what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The second report I sent to you is what I am. It's a description of what I am sharing with the core membership or leadership. I have sort of settled on the idea that they are the ones I should be reporting to and getting their feedback, so that there is some accountability on my part, that I will talk with them and they will share, they'll give me feedback on what they think about what I'm doing. And so that's essentially, what I am doing now. And again, like I said, the report I shared with you, response, the first feedback you gave to me, which typically was the idea that we should describe our industry more closely. It will be helpful for us. It will be helpful for you to know the size of the organization and its finances, and that podcast might be the way to go in terms of reviving our our broadcast. We previously were on the air, and developers bought the property over, so we couldn't continue. But so this is, podcast seems to be something that one wants to look at, and then the idea of demonstrating the competitive advantage of our choice of the social media. What is it? What is in there for us? Why do we think this is important? And then finally, you also indicated the need to focus on one particular, problem. And so these are the things I'm sharing with them, and I want to report back to you on their response.
Mm-hmm.
To what, in my third report, what is their response? So that's what I want to share.
So you got a lot of going on, and that's why I suggested just focusing on one thing at a time.
Exactly. So that's, if you see the report, I will welcome the chance to.
Like I said, I haven't read the report yet because he just turned them in today.
I will welcome the chance to do a slide presentation today. So if we could, that would probably give you and the class a greater idea of what we're doing.